projective techniques are scientific methods of experimenting or extracting the evidences from the respondent. Projective techniques allows respondents to project their subjective or true opinion and beliefs onto other people or even objects. The respondent's real feelings are then inferred from what he or she says about the other. Projective techniques are normally used during individual or small group interviews. Like this projective technique could be used for the extraction of the experimental evidences, like in undesired or in an unambiguous situation. To extract some of the results on the research work could be extracted by using any of the projective technique. This was the scientific method where can be implemented at the time of experimentation or observation, or some searching out of truths behind the selected topic could be used. Let us see on what objective this method can be used as one of the tool for research purposes. The purpose of projective technique is to evoke emotional responses from the participant in order to study their attitude, threats and behavior. These tests are expected to reveal an individual's unconscious desires and the main objective of introducing the projective techniques in the research work is to evoke their emotional responses. It may be their willing or not willing, or their desire to continue, or to subject that particular topic into an observation manner, or to know about the interest, attitude, threats and behavior behind the study could be extracted at the different situations. There are various methods of projective techniques are there. Let us see one by one. The first one is word association test. As the name itself indicating here, the word association, as association indicates it is a group. So this technique is a quick, easy to administer and frequently used in advertising, research and quality association with their brand names. And generally what happens in this word association technique, 50 to 100 words are administered to the respondent, and they will be required to give the responses with suitable matching word which occurs to their mind without thinking much. They have to give rapid responses on the like words which are associated in the group manner, like some 50 to 100 words. Further, these those words, how the respondent will be given, those words will be collected, and analyzing of the matching word give the clue whether the particular word can be used for an instant purposes or not. Based on that, we can analyze that, and we will be having some objectives and some predetermined goals and objectives will be that whether it matches or not, we can check by using this method. That is one of the method called word association test, which comes under the projective technique. And the second one is sentence completion test. Usually, this method is used often to develop hypothesis and in the construction of questionnaires. To construct the questionnaires and to build the hypothesis, in this technique, the respondent will serve with incomplete sentences, and she will be asked to complete the sentences. On the way, the same subject, several sentences can be received. These are analyzed to ascertain the views of respondent. This technique is an extension of word association test. This may pose problems in administering in multiple dimensional purposes. Here, a problem is not only one-dimensional oriented, it can be direct by extracting some responses from the respondent. The problem can deviate in a different directions. So, here this technique, which is extended from the word association test and which may raise any sort of problems in multi-dimensional purposes. This is the second type of the projective technique, that is called sentence completion test. And the third one is story completion test. Here the respondent is given a story lines which is focusing on the subject matter, which means the topic on which the research work or is expecting to extract some work on the respondent. Subject matter under study and will be asked to complete the story. Here, the individual desires and feelings can be extracted from the respondent, and that extracted results from the respondent helps us to draw the conclusion. Helps us to draw the conclusion. That conclusion can be drawn in our own way. There are many methods of drawing a conclusion by the results. And the fourth type of projective technique is verbal projection test, which means that word based on the words. Here the respondent's motivations are drawn from his verbal reactions to the, it may be in the form of statement or it may be recorded what the respondent is giving. Like that, the record can be stored using any means. This is also one of the tool which can be used for the projective technique, that is called verbal projection test. As projecting in the sense exposing, the words are in the form of words, it can be expressed, that can be collected in the form of writing or in a recorded way. Many modern devices are there where we can record the auditory recording can be done by using this verbal projection test. This is also one of the type of projective technique. Here, one more technique it is there. It is called pictorial technique. In this, various methods can be introduced. First one is thematic appreciation test. Here, a theme-based pictures will be scrambled and arranged. Here, what happens? Here, respondent will be supplied with a set of pictures. Some are clear and other are ambiguous. Some will be clearly understood by seeing that picture, but few more pictures will be, those will not be give any more clarity, where the respondent can conclude in his own feelings and in his own desire. The respondent can conclude about the given picture. Based upon their description of the picture, the inference about the respondent can be drawn. Here, attitude and the picture can motivate the respondent to draw their conclusion. And the next one is Rorschach's test. This is a type of ink blot test where the child's positive attitude and negative attitude, or the respondent's positive and negative feelings, can be extracted by subjecting the respondent to the such kind of test. Here it is a pre-printed symmetrical, much meaningless ink blot it is, which will be supplied to the respondent. These respondent describes their own way and analyzing it there in a own way. That helps on predetermination of psychological framework of the respondent. This projective technique helps us to draw the framework on psychological background. And next one is Sacking's test, and the other one is Holtzman ink blot test. Here both are like a cartoon based pictures. Just it is a sample slide for how can be designed the test for collecting the responses. Here empty balloon spaces will be provided. You can observe in the slides that one slide is written by some clues and one more slide is subjected empty, where the respondent can express their own view on the given topic. That is only to purpose is that to come out from the unambiguous situation to draw the conclusions here. The same way, one more it is Hartman's ink blot test. That is also the same. The picture synchronizes the feelings of the respondent, where some can feel it very light and express their views on the very positive manner. Some can express in a negative manner, or it depends on the attitude of the respondent. So these tests could be utilized to frame out the psychological background of the respondent. And the next one is play techniques. Manipulative games are administered to the respondent and then were asked to play freely. The manner in which they organize and play will be the base to know their threats and emotional intensities. Do all play in test administered to the child in one such techniques. Here we do sometimes, or if we like a trainer or a researcher, if we went on any the seminar or presentation, such kind of situation, we have to remove out some of the feelings which they hidden in the in the gathered manner. There some sort of games can be administered for the gatherers, where they can come out from their fearness, they can feel free to involve completely, and that helps us to extract some more results from them, being as an experimenter, and which are willing to express some of the respondent from the audience. Such kind of games can be organized here, by that also comes under the projective techniques. And the second one is quiz test and examinations, like construction of some of the questions based on the selected topic, or some memorizing sentences or some memorizing words, which helps us to extract some of the respondent in a different format and using different methods. We can design based on the topic selected. And the last one is sociometry. It is a recently developed technique to study the motives of the respondent and to desire the social relationship between the individual acceptability and the responses. Sociometry, it is a tool where we can build a good rapport between the experimenter and the respondent. When an experimenter is free to receive all kind of responses and helps us to deviate in a different manner, and it makes them too easy to know what we are expecting that from the respondent, it can be dragged very easily. So sociometry is one of the a method of projective techniques. Sociogram charts, like highlighting the sociometric chances, are used for this purposes, also can be used. Under this attempt is made to trace the flow of information against the group and then examine the way in a new ideas are diffused. Various what we extract when once the topic is subjected to the respondent, he starts giving some of the responses. It may not what we expect. Sometimes the results may change. That sociometrical relationship between the respondent and the experimenter can reconstruct the situation what he is expecting from the respondent. That can be done by using the sociometric techniques under projective technique. And at last, after studying of these all the different methods of different methods of projective techniques, in order to conclude about the projective techniques, can give us a lot of useful information, but we should not based on our diagnosis on them. It may vary. They work well as complementary tools for the patient to develop their problems and conscious. I would like to mention that in order to evaluate personality, psychological or cognitive purposes, they are all the cognitive tests that can be shown in the methodologically effective. These can be helps in. This is about the projective techniques. If you have any questions, you can pose.